Hello friends, welcome to this session. From last session we have started discussing types of business organizations, and we have discussed the advantages, disadvantages and the basics about proprietorship or sole proprietorship in the last session. Today we'll start discussing another type of business organizations, another type which is also equally popular like proprietorship, which all of us refer to as the partnership part of it. Okay. So, let us start our discussions about partnership. The partnership is where two or more individuals agree to share in the profits and losses of a business. Basically, you come together, it's more than one, so partnership. A partnership involves two or more individuals who agree to combine resources to conduct a business. So, automatically you get more resources than the individual part of it. So, basically two or more, that is the important part of it. Then a partnership is a business arrangement where two or more individuals or entities agree to share in the ownership, look at this, in the ownership, management and profits or losses of a business. The partners, the most critical part of it, and some people say the most sensitive part is the partners are jointly and severally liable and responsible for profit and loss. Of course, nobody is unhappy if you are earning profits, but the questions or problems arise when a partnership firm starts incurring losses, and the questions come about liability. But one of the feature is that the partners are jointly and severally liable and responsible for profit and loss. Partnerships are formed through a formal agreement. There is a partnership deed as we normally refer to. Partnerships are formed through a formal agreement, either written or oral, where partners agree to cooperate to achieve common goals of the particular partnership as a business organization. Now, let us look at the key aspects of the partnership as a type of business organizations. First and foremost, there has to be agreement. That is, partners must agree to work together, sharing responsibilities and profits. Liabilities also, when I say responsibilities, I mean liabilities also, profits, loss also. Then there has to be cooperation. That is, partners must combine resources, skills or labor. Labor means not physical labor, but working for the firm to operate the business. Then the ownership will be shared among the partners. Partners share in the ownership of the business and the profits or losses it generates. And sometimes the profits are shared depending upon what is your share in the capital. So, it can be 50-50, or maybe there is one partner who is contributing 60%, then that fellow can get 60% profit, other will get 40% kind of thing. So, shared ownership and therefore shared profits also. Then another important thing is about liability. In general partnerships, partners are personally, please remember this, personally or individually liable for the debts and obligations of the business. As you said, they are jointly and severally liable and responsible for the debts or liabilities. Then there is a legal framework, that is, partnerships are governed by laws such as the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 in India. So, that means proprietorship, though only not much of a legal kind of thing, but partnership onwards you find that legal framework is there. And partnerships are governed by laws such as the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Now, why like proprietorship, why partnership is more or less equally popular business organization form? Mainly because small and medium sized businesses where multiple individuals pool resource and expertise is one of the favorite vehicle, and therefore partnerships are popular. Or partnerships are typically what you call SMEs, kind of small and medium enterprises. Partnerships are suitable and popular. Typically, they could be law firms, for example, accounting firms, CAs, you normally find they have partnership. Sometimes, earlier it was, medical practice was more individual. Now there are partnerships also, and now of course they are moving into Section 8 companies also, or they are talking of corporate limited, public limited companies also. And then of course, we also have some of the most popular partnerships are in the real estate, what you call, the construction business kind of thing. Then having discussed what we call the basic features and suitability of partnership and popularity. Let us now look at the advantages and disadvantages of partnership in brief. Typically, as we have said, like proprietorship, partnership is easy to establish and start compared to other business structures like, as I said, private limited company, public limited company. Compared to these companies or organizations, partnerships require minimal paperwork and legal documents to establish. Partnership did, Indian Partnership Act, that's part of it. Then partnerships can help combine expertise, like we say, two is better than one. So, with more than one like-minded individual, there are more opportunities to increase their collaborative skill sets, and of course, with collaboration you can improve the business and take it to higher levels also. It also helps, because there's not only one person but two or more people. It helps in distributing the workload. And normally it is, the advantage is that people in partnership commonly share responsibilities so that one person does not have to do all the work. So, some people will be looking after purchasing, some people looking after the accounting part of it, some people after marketing, somebody after the liaison with the government kind of thing. It will be divided. So, the workload is distributed and only one person doesn't have to look after everything and do the running around. Then of course, disadvantages, again, you have advantages, you are bound to disadvantages, two sides of the coin as we call it. There is possibility for disagreements. And it happens. This is one of the major weakness, if I may say so. By having more than one person involved in business decisions, partners may disagree on some aspects of the operation, and if this disagreement perpetuates further, it leads to difference of opinion and sometimes fights also. Then there is difficulty in transferring ownership. Now, basically what happens is, if there is no formal agreement which explicitly stated the process part of it, like you come together, okay, but if you want to separate what will be done, now if it is not specifically put in what you call black and white and there are shades of grey, then there are difficulties in transferring ownership, because without a formal agreement that explicitly states processes, a business may come to a halt if partners disagree and choose to end their partnership. They get stuck up actually. Then there is full liability, as I said. Partners are jointly and severally liable and responsible for both profits as well as losses. The real problem comes when there are losses. So, all members are personally, jointly and severally liable and responsible for business related debts and may be pursued, sued actually in a lawsuit. So, they can be proceeded against and prosecuted for certain defaults if there are liabilities which are not taken care of or which are not met. Then of course, after realizing profits and more, the what you call liabilities, people have realized that the liability is a big issue, and therefore there has been a slight what you call modification or evolution of partnership, where we have a new form, what is known as a limited liability partnership, LLP for short. This is kind of what you call modified version of partnership. Basic principles are same. You get resources, more people come in, you get expertise, but here the best advantage is that the liability is limited, as the name itself says, limited liability, and that's why LLP is now becoming increasingly popular rather than just the old form of partnership. Now, typically, if I may say so, LLP has emerged, I'll be using the short form, limited liability partnership, LLP for short. So, LLP has emerged as a flexible structure which combines the features of partnerships and companies offering limited liability to partners. Companies, you got limited liability, partnerships, unlimited liability. So, the limited liability of a corporate has been brought into the LLP part of it, which is one of the attractive features which has made LLP popular. Now, LLP is a hybrid of other forms of business organization because it has some characteristics of a corporation, body corporate, as well as partnership, and therefore LLP structure is considered more flexible and probably more adaptable, mainly because of the liabilities part of it. It's also considered suitable for businesses which are seeking a balance between flexibility and limited liability. That limited liability is one of the major considerations. LLP is a business structure that combines aspects of both partnership and corporations. It's a form of partnership where partners have limited liability for the debts, unlike the old partnership where you are jointly and severally liable and responsible. So, it's a form of partnership where partnerships have limited liability for the debts and obligations of the LLP, typically limited to their investment and any personal guarantees they have made. Investment means basically proportionate to the capital and any personal guarantees. If you have issued personal guarantees, you will be liable for those. Then what it means is that partners' personal assets are generally protected from being used to satisfy the LLP's debts unless they personally guaranteed those debts, and that's why LLP has emerged as one of the popular kind of thing, because the partners are having limited liability and they are not jointly and severally liable and responsible for the liabilities. Now, typical key features are what? It is a separate legal entity. They are considered to be a separate legal entity for their partners, similar to a company in terms of limited liability. Then limited liabilities, partners are typically not liable for the actions or debts of other partners or for the LLP's debts beyond their investment. The limited liability is a core part of it. Then of course, flexibility is another feature. LLPs often offer flexibility in management and decision making, allowing partners to participate actively in the business, and it's also of hybrid nature because they combine the flexibility of a partnership with the limited liability provisions and protection of a typical body corporate, as we call it. So, in essence, an LLP provides a way for professionals or businesses to operate as a partnership while enjoying the protection of limited liability, which is especially appealing for businesses where partners might be held liable for their professional actions or the actions of others. And basically it is popular because, putting it very bluntly, because under LLP, partners are not jointly and severally liable and responsible, unlike the partnership that we discussed earlier. So, before we close our discussions about partnership and LLP, let us be very clear that at times there is a difference between what you call LLP and LLC. LLCs are primarily a US based legal structure, limited liability company they call it, but in India, normally an LLC is typically referred to as limited liability partnership. At basic advantage, limited liability and not joint and several liability and responsibility. So, with this, we will stop our discussions about business organization form, about partnership and LLP. Some more business forms like HUF, like cooperative organizations, NGO, private limited, public limited, OPC, one person company, or section 8 company, we will discuss in the sessions to come. Thank you. Goodbye till we meet in the next session.